Hi everyone, in this video I thought I'd show you a quick, small watercolor painting that I did of this picture I saw of a cute girl on the seaside in Pinterest. So I haven't actually done a watercolor piece in quite some time, so I was feeling a little bit rough around the edges when I was doing this. I was kind of relearning my process, but since I was kind of just playing around, I just started picking up the colors that I felt was right. So for the first layer, I usually start off with a mixture of warm and cool tones, which was kind of perfect for this one since the water was kind of reflecting the blues on her right side, and then the sunlight was reflecting some oranges and reds on her face on the left side. So just keeping that in mind, I started the base layer with a light lemon yellow and washed watered down cerulean blue from Holbein. Then once that was dry, I started to paint in her skin tones, which I used Scarlet Lake Red, I think. And for the violet shades, I've mixed in a bit of, I'm not quite sure what type of blue this was. I think it was ultramarine blue, and it worked out pretty well. I was layering quite a bit on this piece, so it's not the cleanest. I was just trying to get the shade that I wanted on the paper, and I wasn't really double checking if my mixture was right or kind of being conscientious of the ratios of each hue. Um, so yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted. I think this is kind of my favorite mark on the piece. Yeah, this brush has been with me for a few years now, and it has held up pretty well. I heard this brush from Juicy Ink before. It's called the Silver Voyage brush, and I got it from Art Whale here in the Philippines. So if you're interested, I'll try and put a link down below so that you guys can check it out. Hopefully they still have some in stock, because I really do highly recommend this brush because it does hold its tip quite well, which is really good for detailing work, which you'll see later on when I'm doing the tiny face on this model. And it holds a lot of water and paint in the brush as well, so I can really get a good mileage before it runs out and I'll have to kind of grab another color from my palette. So it's really a joy to work with. Going back to the piece though, right now I'm doing her hair, and in the picture she has kind of this very dark brown or almost black hair with some blue highlights coming from the sea. So I kind of started in with some blues and then layered on top of it to make it darker and darker in certain areas, and leaving some highlights on the top of her head to give her head this spherical shape. I hope you're kind of getting what I'm saying. But so here you can see a close-up of her face, and this is what I meant when the brush holds its tip quite well, and it's really really good for detail work because I am the type of painter that doesn't really like switching her materials midway. I kind of tend to stick with just one brush, or I know there's a lot of artists that prefer to do mixed media and stuff, but I'm more of the, if I just pick watercolor, I stick to it from start to finish. Or if I pick colored pencil, I just want to use colored pencil and nothing else. But yeah, perhaps it's something that I should explore um, in my art journey later on, because different mediums really solve different problems, and it always does give very interesting textures when you're using more than one medium. A little bit more about what I'm doing here. Whenever I do the third layer, which is kind of putting in the details of things, I usually start with the darkest areas. That means usually the bottom of the nose, the nostrils, but the top lip, because the light doesn't hit that part of the lips, her eyebrows, her hair, and this just gives me more of a orientation of how where my hues are on the value spectrum of this particular piece. I hope I'm communicating this well, but basically, it gives you that comparison. For example, if before I placed darker shades on her eyes, everything was kind of mid-toned, but now that I've darkened her hair and her eyes, you can see that her skin on her neck is actually quite light. So in relation to that, I go in and darken that area more because um, in the picture at least, and you know, um, just following basic physics, I don't know, like how light reacts. If the sunlight was towards the left of her face, then the right should be mostly in shadow. So I had to kind of match the values so that it won't look so awkward. So now I'm just kind of filling in the areas in her hair that I kind of missed, chiseling out the whatchamacall this jacket that she's wearing. And I really do love painting in hair because it takes on different shapes and you can really play around with the strands to make it look more interesting than just this one block of color. So now I'm kind of working on the stripes on her jacket and the waves, suggesting waves to visually say that she's on the seaside. Um, and yeah, I did this just by generally trying to paint lines and not even straight lines, just general lines on her, what she's wearing. Then after that, I went in to the shadows of her clothes and adding in some more blues on top of that and violets as well. Um, yeah, and at this point, I was kind of noodling around. Then I wasn't able to film the whole process, but this is kind of how it turned out, and I thought that it was really, really cute. So, yeah, well, that's really all I have. If you have any questions or future video suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Like this video, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.